podcast world. This is Caribbean Power Lunch, where we feature Black-owned businesses. I am your host, Kevin Valley, and today we are back with Osei, right, Alexis?
Oh.
Ose's in the house.
Yeah, man. Good to be here as usual, Kevin. Good to be here as usual.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's good to have you as usual. You know, we're drinking rum, having a good time.
Working.
Oh, sorry, yeah, we're drinking water, we're strategizing and consulting and all these things. So today you're here with one of your Howard brethren, and you know it's funny, right? Because I started the podcast featuring Black entrepreneurs, and now so many Howard men rolling up in the cabin studio.
But you know Howard is like the UE campus in Washington D.C.
I realized
a truckload of Caribbean people, Trinis, you know. As I say, you could go to Howard and not have one American friend and be completely satisfied with the experience there. If that's what you're comfortable with. So many of us up there, you know. So yeah,
it's true. I'm unfortunate to meet Osei and these other Trinidadians, because for me, I came the other direction. I grew up in the US for a while. I met them all in UE Washington DC, you know, and coming back home to Trinidad and see everybody here doing great things is definitely an honor to be part of that movement.
And he showed us how to be a Trini. If you come from Trinidad, this was the biggest Trini.
Hold on, guys. Hold on. Right now, everybody's hearing this strange voice.
It's true.
I know Kevin. I know Osei. Who's this other guy?
Yeah.
Well, good evening, everyone, wherever you are in the world. My name is Lequay. Definitely an honor to be here on the show tonight. I like the idea. I like what you're doing. And if it is that you need me to recommend other persons to come on this program.
I thought you were going to say fund or invest.
Oh, well, we could get there too. But no, I could. No, definitely.
Well, yeah, right after you finish the strategy session. Strategy session.
Yeah.
I can't even say strategy properly.
Yeah.
Too much water.
Nah, man. I have to spread the word, because you're actually doing something good and positive, and I love to be part of the things that are heading in that direction. And only because, you know, Osei voucher, you know, it's not coming on the program. But it actually led me to listen to all the previous episodes that you had, and the persons that you had on the program are all people that I respect, and hats off to you and whoever's coming next. You know, this is a great show to be a part of.
Agreed.
Yeah, I heard you throwing some shade from my boy Andrew Jeffers earlier.
Actually,
hello, Howard, man.
Yeah, but he actually made me listen to that whole thing, but I had to endure that whole interview with Andrew Jeffers.
It should have been short, right?
No pun intended. Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah, it should have been short. I guess it was on replay. I don't know.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Andrew Jeffers. He came and brought some wisdom and knowledge, everything. In episode 22. So, Kyle, we doing Tobago Beach Soccer.
Yes.
World of Dance.
Yes. Yeah.
How we reach cheerleader now? What is this Chinese son?
I feel like we should just let him give us the little chronology, because the amount of things on this man's resume right now, like I feel like, you know, you need to let him give it as it happened, because it's too much to just jump into, like, you know, wait.
Talk about the two bars he owns.
Oh gosh, yeah. No, I mean, I think it's true. I think we should, you know, start from where it all began.
Yeah, agreed.
Coming out of Howard, that's where I would start from. That experience in Howard, you know.
So Howard kind of got that entrepreneurial spirit in your mind.
Yeah, basically, because when we were in Howard, we were throwing parties, we were doing events. We even had a section in the mud band in Washington D.C. Garage Boys had a mud band for DC Carnival, and myself and a couple other friends, we decided we wanted a section, and our group was called Do It Entertainment, you know, and that same mentality, just why not do it? So we were doing carnival section, we were doing soca songs, we were doing a football team, we were doing parties, you know, we were doing carnival sections in Miami and stuff like that. So we got involved very early, you know, being in that Howard network. Coming out of that, you know, just open your eyes to realize that there's so many things you can do, and we have the education to back it up, and now we're getting the experience, and we're on the ground all the time. So for me, it was an easy transition to get into the entrepreneurial world coming out of Howard, because they always encourage young Black persons to get involved in business. And I was in School of B. Anybody else was in School of B here? Oh, yeah, right. School of Business. Yeah.
Well, by young Black persons in Howard, you mean the Howard students?
No, well, it was a little diverse, but I mean, no, definitely, the Howard students, because every majority black, but the persons that were lecturing you, they're encouraging you to think differently, and they were showing you, different ways that you can make an impact in the world by looking at what you can bring to the table, finding something that you're really good at, and going for it. Everyone is not built to work in corporate America or corporate Trinidad. So what do you do if you have certain skill sets? And they showed you how to harness that talent and really push forward to become an entrepreneur. And I think that's the direction I decided to go in from that period. And that would have been around, we started around 2002, 2003 in Howard. Undergrad there at Howard, I did it in business. I did my minor in sports administration because I had a love and a passion for the sports business world. Just
sports business, but you weren't necessarily like much of an athlete yourself? Or
definitely. Football has always been my life. Played football at a level in Miami, played a state team in Georgia, high school, all county team and all those kind of things. Went on to Howard to play football and just got involved in so many things. I was the president of the international student body at Howard. And just becoming a well-rounded person. I think that's what that university encouraged you to become. So being involved in CSA, being involved in the international PALS body, being involved in football, being involved in events, I think it led an active lifestyle that pushed me to do what I'm doing today.
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay, but how do we move from graduate from Howard? Play football. You went you just do it, right?
Yeah, you do it. We did it. Yeah.
How you do from that to beach soccer?
Yeah. So in 2010, my roommate at the time, Derek Dickinson from Tobago, we went to an event in Washington D.C. and it was a beach soccer event, and we saw the persons displaying high level of skill on the sand, and we're saying, this is a product that we could probably bring to our island. Surrounded by water, we like football, we like lime, we like beach, we like sun, we like party. Why not see how we could infuse all those things and do a nice event in Tobago? So that was one of the reasons why I was thinking about making him move back to Trinidad. But also at that time, I got the opportunity to work with Trinidad and Tobago Football Association with the Women's Under-17 World Cup that was being held in 2010. So I decided to move back to Trinidad and took up that position there.
How did you get that position offered?
So basically I sent my resume.
Oh, just like that?
Yeah, I sent my resume and made a couple of calls in Trinidad, and I'm letting them know of what I've done, my interest in coming back to be a part of it. And they gave me the opportunity and I took it. And while doing that stint for the World Cup, I was sitting down trying to figure out how we're going to launch this beach soccer product. Went to Tobago many times, looked at the model, sat down with my partner Derek, started a company called Bago Sports. The focus was to develop sports on the island of Tobago, looking at the sports tourism model, how we can attract persons to the island, high level, bring visitors in, but also from the developmental side now that the local athletes can gain some kind of knowledge and experience from the international athletes coming to Tobago. Right. So we started the beach soccer tournament in 2010, and within 2 years, it grew to become the largest beach soccer event in the Caribbean with 15,000 US for the grand prize. We had FC Barcelona flying from Spain to come and compete. We had players from England, Germany, Brazil, and it just grew and grew and grew. And it eventually became a staple calendar event on Beach Soccer Worldwide, which is the governing entity for beach soccer, on their calendar. It grew so big that we did not even have enough space to facilitate more teams, so we could have only capped off at a certain number, like 10 to 12 teams. But then the women got interested in it, and the women said, well, the guys are playing, we want to play as well. So we developed a women's division, and it grew from there. But coming out of that, we were able to form an association, the Beach Soccer Association of Trinidad and Tobago, which was developed to foster growth in the sport because FIFA has a World Cup for it. And we were able to get players coming out of that tournament into the national team and representing Trinidad and Tobago at the World Cup level. So many things came out of it. So we were now sending players to Russia, Portugal, Belgium, Switzerland, England to play beach soccer as professionals. And these were guys who were just playing ball in the sand in different villages in Tobago, in Plymouth and Blackrock. Some guys come as far as Moruga in Trinidad. And they are now using beach soccer as a tool to develop as a national athlete and as an international athlete. And it just opened the door. And that tournament really took off. And I was so grateful to see that we have local talent now representing us on that world stage.
Why is it that we haven't heard more about those achievements, you know, I feel like it's the first time I'm actually hearing some of these things, and I've actually been to some of those tournaments.
Yeah.
So why is it not more publicized than something that's, you know, pushed a little more in the media?
Internationally, it's all out there. I mean, a lot of the correspondence that we push is outside because we're trying to get the international athletes, international teams to realize that we have talented players and bring them across. We've worked with Flow Sports, we've worked with TV6, we've worked with Wii Sports, all covering the events, trying to push it on television. We've been on national TV doing interviews, taking players to do interviews and stuff like that. Tobago knows about it. Like when you tell Tobago beach soccer, like the whole of Tobago will come down for beach soccer. They know.
I think that's the first place I saw it, you know. I think maybe in Tobago several years ago I might have seen that beach soccer thing. Like, this is real vibes.
Yeah, that's how we've been. It's 8 years now we've been doing it, and every kid coming up now wants to do a bicycle kick. They want to dive in the sand, and it's a sport where they can be creative, they can be acrobatic, and I guess that natural football ability and the little wildness that we have, it is a good marriage for our players. But then coaching and discipline. So what we started doing was bringing in coaching programs. So we started coaching players, right, how to become coaches, certifying them. So now they can now take that skill set and now teach people in the community on how to become a better beach soccer player. So we've pushed it internationally to the point where one player from Tobago was even signed by FC Barcelona to play in a season tournament. So beach soccer is different. They play like on a circuit, similar to T20. So you play a tournament in Portugal for like 6 weeks. Then you go off to Italy and play. Then you go to the US. And Barcelona was going to the US to play in a circuit. And they asked one of our national players from Tobago to play with them under the FC Barcelona brand. So that's just a testimony of us working real hard, pushing the tournament, but showing the impact the tournament had on the local players. And that was basically my way of getting into the whole sporting arena in Trinidad and Tobago and understanding how it works after being away for so many years. And it opened the door for me to do multiple other things that I guess we will talk about going forward. Yeah.
So you were just inspired. You just started. You didn't have to go and get any sponsorship. You didn't have to go and raise any money. Because I heard you was talking about players flying across the world.
Yeah, we really have to say thanks to the sponsors who came aboard in year one. We got support from Sagicor and Tobago House of Assembly in year one to get things kick-started.
Okay.
And from there, it just grew. Other entities started jumping on board because of the attraction of the event.
Did the sponsors just jump on board right away? Or was it like a big uphill climb or so?
Well, in year one, because of what we're trying to do and the persons that we would have had good relationships with, they took that leap of faith with us. Sagicor especially, and the THA, knowing that we were young professionals back home trying to focus on a sport tourism niche, they gave us that chance. And from there, it just grew exponentially. And for me, seeing these sponsors come on board, right, it influenced other sponsors to come on board.
Social proof, right?
Yeah, and it just took off from there. So for those events that we did in Tobago, we started now looking at locations in Trinidad, but because of the geographic, layout of Trinidad, it was
might get a pothole in the
it was difficult to find space to run tournaments in Trinidad. So most of our focus was across in Tobago. So if Trinidadians saying that they don't know much about it, it's because most of it was done in Tobago.
Right. Read that you found a place in Chagonas.
Yeah.
I didn't even know Chagonas had beaches.
Exactly. Chagonas doesn't have a beach. We found that they developed a sand pit in Chagonas.
Okay.
And we started using Chagonas as our training hub in Trinidad to prepare our team to go off to the World Cup qualifiers for CONCACAF, and also share that facility with the beach volleyball team. So, they're trying to use that facility to push the beach sports.
So in terms of growth and everything and kind of building this movement, I went on their social media and everything. I didn't really see much marketing per se. So what was that?
On my personal social media?
No, not your personal, just on the company's social media and everything.
Which one? Balbigo Sports, or because a couple of companies.
Well, you have a few, or 5 or 6 or so.
Yeah.
It was the marketing strategy. Like, what was the?
So for that, the marketing strategy was basically reaching out to the key decision makers in particular federations, TTFA, getting these things sanctioned, getting FIFA support, getting international teams on board. And our focus was just using videos, using testimonials from persons that came to Trinidad and sending it outside. Because our tournament, most of the teams in our event in Tobago, not from Trinidad and Tobago, we would have 12 teams in the tournament and 8 will be international. Right. So our focus was trying to get the outside market inside. So you would see us pushing individually on their individual pages. So we would go and follow people and look and see where they are. And we would now send stuff on their page and stuff like that to just start engaging them to come to Tobago. And we would have brought in like 200 athletes. 2016, we had about 250, so we're just trying to grow the amount of persons that came into Tobago for that specific tournament. And that tournament led us now to start, as I said, start the federation, which I serve as the president now of the Beach Soccer Association of Trinidad and Tobago, responsible for the development of beach soccer in Trinidad and Tobago.
An association started just because of a business idea that you had.
Correct. So yeah, because there became a need for development and for structure and opportunity now to develop young players into senior level players. And just to show you how it worked, Trinidad and Tobago competed in the Youth Commonwealth Games last year, all right, in Bahamas. And we sent a U18 beach soccer girls team and a U18 beach soccer boys team. And Trinidad and Tobago girls team won the gold medal in beach soccer at the Youth Commonwealth Games last year, and the boys got silver. And it was the first time that a team would have won a gold medal in a multi-sport event for Trinidad and Tobago. So that's to show you 17, 18-year-olds coming up under the senior team, training and developing. And all of these players would have seen the tournament in Tobago, play across in Tobago. So we have to say thanks to the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association, right, Ministry of Sport, and these other entities that believed in what we were trying to do to show that this sport actually has a place in Trinidad and Tobago.
It seems like, so this is just like the first real venture you would have undertaken being back to Trinidad. And it seems as though you sounding like you had this plan organized, you had like CEOs of different bodies come to you sound like you operated on a level that wasn't, natural or consistent with somebody now at the university though. Like, what was the secret sauce that you would say, whether, was advice that you were given? Was it a team that you were able to build? Was it just your natural brilliance and charisma? Like, how did you achieve such a large feat immediately? That sounds like almost unbelievable though.
Yeah, I think it's a collection of everything you mentioned there, because to get Barcelona to sign a contract to come to Tobago, I had to go and convince Barcelona that Tobago was worth coming to.
Did you show them a picture of the beach, or what did you do?
It was everything. I sold the experience, I sold the culture, I even sold the ability that our players had. And persons would have come before them and would have seen that Tobago was a great experience. And this would have been the first time they would have come to the Caribbean to play. And they were seeing how serious we were with our event and using some of the tactics of selling our country, the best that Tobago had to offer, and building a strong team that included persons internationally, persons who are on the Swiss Beach Soccer League, persons who are in the English Federation for Beach Soccer, getting them to buy into our initiative and sell the idea to Barcelona for us. And getting Barcelona president, right? Because, Barcelona, they have beach soccer, they have grass football, they have basketball, they have handball, they have multiple sports.
Right.
And the president of the whole Barcelona club would have given his blessings for the beach soccer team to go to Tobago to play. And I think that was one of the biggest things that we achieved. I'd say you will see from that, everything was just skyrocketing from there, because we were able to attract the largest team to come to our event. In the sporting world, that kind of gave me more credibility where the Football Federation is concerned. And that's why I was able now to transition into working with the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association, because they saw this up and coming young guy came back home, took this idea of sweating on the sand to where it is now, right? Being a international event, largest event in the Caribbean, and now also the largest amount of international players, and also developing our players to go outside. We did a lot. And just to put things in perspective of the quickness of the growth, we were able to beat Mexico in a beach soccer event in the Bahamas. And it was the first time that a Caribbean team would have beaten Mexico, who were number one in CONCACAF in beach soccer.
Wow.
And that just came from these guys playing against the top level players all the time and getting that chance to go outside and play internationally, coming back with that knowledge and going to play Mexico and beating Mexico in Bahamas. It was historical. And those things all happen at the same time. So sometimes it's a little bit of luck. Maybe the ball bounced right for us in the sand, sometimes it's just it's proper organization as well. And I think we did both pretty well, I guess. And so using that now, I started to show persons and build relationships with brands and sponsors that I think that I could do this with anything. So if it is you tell me you want to do a marble pitching project, I think I could take marble pitching from where it is and take it to that next level. And I think that is where I realized that I had a talent for seeing something in the sporting world, holding it, harnessing it, and trying to develop it, not just locally, but regionally and internationally. And that is where I got my first job with the Caribbean Premier League in the cricket. So transitioning from beach soccer, while that was going on, I got the call to be the marketing manager for the Caribbean Premier League in the first year. That's when we were the Red Steel. And it was a great experience for me working with the Red Steel and working with the Caribbean Premier League and making sure that every single sponsor came on board for that project, and all the branding that you saw in the Oval, all the sponsorship fulfillment. I'm actually watching El Dorado on your table right now, and El Dorado is a big sponsor, big sponsor of it. But working with all these brands in a big event like the CPL.
Hopefully El Dorado decides to be a big sponsor.
Well, I know, right? No, that's a nice plug.
But we'll talk. I see you got that sponsorship.
Yeah, that's a nice plug. That's a really nice plug for them, But yeah, and so working with these brands, but from a sporting perspective and understanding what sport can do for these brands, I think that's when I started to realize it's something I'm pretty good at. And I took up the opportunity to work with CPL in the first year, and it was a challenging year because they now enter the market, but the people behind it were great mentors and showed us exactly what value brands can get in a small market like Trinidad and Tobago. And then it looked at understanding the broadcast side of it, the broadcast deals, the timing of games, when to put breaks in the games so that persons could get the advertised on television, understanding that whole realm of sports marketing. That is when it all clicked for me that I really think I could do this. I really think I could do this on that level. And CPL was great, but remember CPL is seasonal. So after the CPL was finished, there would be a time lapse before start coming back on board for the project again for the following year. And in that short space of time, the TTFA made me an offer and picked me up right after CPL. So after serving as the marketing manager for CPL that first year, I was asked by the then president of TTFA, Raymond Timke, to be the marketing and merchandise manager for the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association. And I think that is where I really got a chance to spread my wings.
Right.
And I got the leeway to be creative, think out the box, and try to change what was going on in football at the time. And I think if I go down that road and you see certain things that are happening, you may not have realized that the person behind all those things that was happening was sitting on right here, which is Lequay. But the thing is, I didn't go out there advertising, hey, I did all that stuff, right? Yeah. But that was the point in time, if you guys can think back, Trinidad and Tobago just brought Coach Stephen Hart back into the national team.
Right.
And Coach Stephen Hart, took up the mantle to try and get the team, this young team, into the World Cup. And my job was to try and fill the stadium, sell jerseys.
What's the capacity of the stadium?
22,500 people, right?
All right.
To fill that stadium and get all the perimeter boards sold around the pitch and try to bring the sponsors back into football, because there was that period where people didn't feel confident in football and administration and how the money was being used.
Right.
And they believed that they didn't want to get involved in football. It was like a hot potato at the time. So my approach was, let's do some market research. So as Osei will tell you, in Howard, they teach you to do everything from the ground up. So created a survey. I went all over Trinidad, from City Gate to QREP to UB Campus to Movie Town, all these places, with surveys, asking people simple questions. Could you name 5 people on the national football team? And people say, Sturgeon John still playing? That fella, the white boy, that one.
Yeah.
That's 2006, guys. We're talking about 2013, right? Preparing for the 2014 World Cup campaign, right?
Yeah.
So, starting to realize that people did not have a relationship with the players. They didn't know who the players were, right? But one thing that I did realize is that they knew who the coach was. They knew Stephen Hart. They say, that's the kind of white man who in charge of the team, right?
People say the kind of white man.
Yeah, because he's a Trinidadian, but he mix up,
So the son as the kind of.
Yeah, the kind of, right? But the thing is, he was the one that was leading the team, right? And the team started playing attractive football. You know, the team went to the Gold Cup and they tied with Mexico. And they said that was one of the best football games in Gold Cup history. So the boys were playing a good brand. And these are players like Kevin Molino, Jovan Jones, Kaleem Highland, Sheldon Bato, Cordell Cato. Some young players coming up, but they're doing really well. But the country didn't know them by name. Right. But they knew that the team was doing well and they knew Stephen Hart was doing a great job. But Stephen Hart is the kind of guy that he's very, very good coach. Loves the football, but he was not, you know, the person to go out in front in terms of marketing and advertising. Right. So we had to really convince him, you know, like Stephen Hart, you know, like this is your army, you know. So we came up with something. Warriors Time is now, right? And he's at the front of it. And all
so you came up with that?
Yeah, Warriors Time is now. Yeah.
Okay.
So that campaign, we ran the Warriors Time is now campaign. Stephen Hart is at the front of it, folding his arms. So when you're driving by, you're seeing digital billboards, you're seeing Stephen Hart in the front, the players behind him. And we try to get the players and they to be more outspoken, be more visible, to get the country to rally behind them. Then I started going after the party groups. I went after Tribe. I got Tribe to do a Warrior section inside the stadium. So there's a Tribe section. And then we had Winer Boy Avinda with another section. Then Fantasy came with a section and we started selling tickets like that. And then I went to corporate Trinidad and Tobago and I started encouraging them now to get blocks of tickets for their staff and people that we would like to come to the games, and started doing it like that. Next thing you know, we playing against USA, 22,500 people in the stadium. Yeah, maxing out the stadium. All the perimeter boards around the pitch. I sold all the perimeter boards around the pitch and getting that sponsorship there because TV broadcast deal, broadcasting throughout, you know. So doing that work now, getting the team to be supported by the fans was great. And after that, now we start game after game. I can remember some of my same Howard friends asking me for tickets to come to the game because it was at that point in time, everybody coming to the stadium to watch the games. And while that was going on now, I developed a campaign called the 12th Warrior. So basically the fan to become that 12th warrior, and then the women's soccer warriors. And the women were trying to qualify to go to the World Cup and they were one game away from qualifying. And we were able to put together a nice strategy. And it was the first time the women's team had a full house for a football game, 22,500, right, for that game against Ecuador. And I take this thing and I speak about it passionately because it's like seeing the progression happen like that, because you're given a chance to spread your wings and, you know, pound the pavement, but you have to be on people all the time in Trinidad. You have to be on them.
Yeah,
hey, we have 50 tickets available for your staff, you know. Would you like to buy tickets for your staff? Come on and support the team. The country needs you. That kind of thing. Going from door to door, knocking on the doors and showing them we're not asking you to be a sponsor. We're just asking for your presence. And Stephen Hart and the team needs you, that kind of way. And we were able to do really well for that campaign. And I think that's when I realized that, hey, you know, not only I'm enjoying doing this, but seem to be doing pretty well at it. And it's then when I got the opportunity to organize this game against Argentina down in Argentina.
Right.
The idea came to the federation. Argentina agreed to do a football match with Trinidad and Tobago. And it would be the first time we get a chance to play against Messi, Di Maria, and those guys in Argentina. So my job was to basically see if we can get some sponsors to help the team get to Argentina, but also try to create a way to get the fans involved. So I came up with a concept where we were going to charter a plane, get fans and the players on the same flight, so the fans could be on the plane with the players, getting that close, intimate experience with them.
And that group on.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So you walk on the plane, you're seeing Kenvin Jones, you know, Radanfa Abubakar, these guys like 6 foot tall, you know, and they're right there with the fans. And I was able to pitch it to the Ministry of Tourism, and they love the idea because I was able to show them that the mileage that they can get in Argentina by having Trinidad and Tobago branding around the pitch. That event was being broadcasted globally, right? Millions of viewers worldwide. Also, we were getting a location in a square in the middle of Argentina to do Tassa, rhythm section, Moko Jombi, steel pan, and give away our merchandise to promote Trinidad and Tobago. And also, we were getting a section in the stadium. So, on the flight, Brian Lara, Charles Marshall, JW, you know, a lot of people in the entertainment world, as well as people in the business world, jumping on board, buying these packages to go down to Argentina. So going down there and getting that experience, you know, and knowing that I was able to put that whole thing together, get the government on board, get the national team down there, play against Argentina there, and give people a good experience. I really believe that what we were doing, right, was a great way to really get the country back behind the team. Other side of it now, they asked me to help them with a merchandising project to try and sell more Trinidad and Tobago football jerseys, so all these things now we're tying back into it. So we're doing fan zones, we're encouraging people to buy jerseys, and we're selling to the diaspora online, and it was really something that I enjoy doing. And I think having an entrepreneurial bone plus the opportunity to do sports marketing, every sale that I made, I felt like it was my business. Like I was selling something because I am selling it, not because somebody tell me, boy, go and sell that. I passionately believed in it. So I went and I sold it.
So you owned the vision of the company, essentially.
Yeah. That was, the mission. So they said, Kyle, we need this done. However you wanted to go about doing it, we're giving you free reign to go and do it, and get it done. And that's what I did. So when I sat down in the stadium and I'm looking around and I'm seeing 22,500 people doing the wave, and I'm saying, wait, boy, a couple years ago, it was 3,000 people in the stadium watching football. And now we're selling out the stadium. And then what I did was, when the team traveled to the Gold Cup, I sat down in the box in the Gold Cup, and people say, Kyle, you crazy. What are you doing? I asked them to give me an escort, and I looked in the binoculars, saw the whole stadium in Chicago, right? And I watched to see where every single red Trinidad and Tobago jersey was. And I walked the stadium and spoke to each Trinidad and Tobago fan, nice. Right? And I told them, thank you for your support for wearing a Trinidad and Tobago jersey. Some people told me they came from New York, some came from Minnesota, some came from California to support the team. And what I did was I invited all these fans that I met personally to come to the team hotel afterwards. So when I spoke to the players, I spoke to Kenman Jones, I spoke to Molino, I spoke to these guys, and I was like, guys, people came from all over the US to come and watch you guys play. We played against Guatemala that day, and we beat Guatemala. And those guys were so appreciative that they came downstairs in the lobby afterwards, and they were taking pictures, and the fans met them in Chicago, and they got that experience with the fans. Now, every single person there at that moment bought a jersey, because we had jerseys at the...
Every single person.
We had jerseys at the hotel. So my idea was, if I get them back to the hotel, right, would I be able to get a sale, right, of this merchandise for them to leave with? And it was working.
That was your plan? That was your plan? I thought you were doing it from the bottom of your heart.
So I have a question, right? So off the bat, to me, it seems as though you're an excellent marketer, as well as you have a sincere, deep passion for the sport, right? Yeah. The question is, though, which one of those two you would say is the bigger motivator, or a bigger, not motivator, but a bigger success factor? And the part B to that question is, being an excellent marketer, do you think you would have been able to transfer that marketing prowess into maybe another field as successfully? So it's two parts to that question.
Yeah. See, you put one spot there. Yeah,
that question sound like the question I did in my exam the other day.
I'm sorry,
let me see. Which question with more mark to say? Which question with more mark?
Part B. Let me see on your paper now. Let me see. No, deep-rooted passion for sport. I grew up in a sporting family. My uncle, Lequay, was the president of cricket for many years in Trinidad and Tobago, and helped pioneer cricket to the level that it is right now, giving cricket a home in Couva, where there's a cricket center and these things, So coming up in sport, I always felt that sport was an opportunity for me to express myself, and I'm passionate about sport. Football happened to be my specific sport that I had an extra passion for. And I guess coming down to that question, I'll say that marketing is about what you believe in. So if it is that I believe passionately about music and selling microphones, and I'm starting to get that passion, I think I could sell microphones as well, because when people hear me talk about microphones, they would realize that this man is really passionate about microphones, So the part B to the question is, in order to be a good marketer, you really have to be passionate about the product that you're selling and what you're pushing out there. And I think I could translate that into other areas, which I eventually ended up doing as we continue the timeline. But it has been something that I realized that I was actually good at, and for it to fall in football, which is like my dream job, like, oh my gosh, I get to work with the TTFA, I get to work with FIFA, it gave me that extra motivation, right. And doing so, opening doors to other persons now to get involved, because it was a new market in Trinidad and Tobago, and people were now seeing how this can work and how sport can be lucrative, not just from the athlete standpoint, but from the marketing standpoint and using sport to understand that it's a business and it's not just a hobby, but it's actually a $1 billion industry. Right?
That's interesting that you say that though. Like, other than what you've been doing, how do you see the sports industry in Trinidad and Tobago, or even in the Caribbean, brother, as a business, like as it is right now?
Yeah.
In terms of dollar size and everything.
No, I mean, obviously we do have a small market. You know, the Caribbean is a small market, but what we do have is we have pockets. So, for example, I could use the CPL, right? The games of the CPL were changed to go at a later time to accommodate people in India and these markets to watch the cricket in the Caribbean. Now, if you think about the amount of persons that will be watching the cricket from the Indian market, even though the game is playing right here in Trinidad, we could have 1,000 people in the stadium, but you have 1 million people watching it outside. So from the business standpoint, you know, it's a huge business, right? But you have to look at the different sectors. Broadcast rights probably would be the number one, right? When you look at breaking it down, right? Attendance, somewhere in the middle, but broadcast rights, definitely number one. And then it comes down to attendance, merchandise, sponsorship will be number two, obviously, ticket sales and stuff. But the gate receipts and these things will fall in the middle. So if you look at the landscape of the Caribbean, our stadium is 22,500 people in Hazy Crawford Stadium.
And what about the Kensington Oval also?
Right. In Barbados, they'll be less. They'll be, I would say, between, but 15 to 20,000 people, right? The Oval is about 15,000 people. But then I'm going to the US and I'm watching 80,000 people in a venue, right? So what we have in the Caribbean is that we may not have the size in terms of the stadium and infrastructure, but once you have equality on the pitch and you're able to sell equality on the pitch, you can now use that to sell the broadcast, right? So if it is that Trinidad and Tobago is playing against Argentina in Trinidad and Tobago, we're only going to sell 22,500 tickets, but we're going to make millions of dollars from people buying the rights from different parts of the world to watch the game. So we now need to watch the product that we have here and seeing how we can harness the talent here to host games here, right? But focus on the international business and the global business side of it, which is why CPL, as I said, changed the times of the cricket games to later. So people saying, but why these games so late in the night, or 10 o'clock in the night, we're watching CPL here. But that's prime time back in India.
So how come they don't like make that known to the population though, instead of just, you know, you want to be a little transparent about it, you know, everybody's
No, I guess that's a PR question. I don't know why. I mean, you probably just want people to come and sell it as a party in the night, have a good time. But it doesn't matter on a Wednesday. In Trinidad and Tobago, the Oval is full, right? But from the business standpoint of it, do you believe that they're going to make all that money back from gate sales in Trinidad and Tobago? With you talking about Bravo, Pollard, Chris Gayle, all these big players, plus the international players that are coming in, Tanvir and these guys, you know, they're playing here. Where are they going to make the money to sustain that model?
But I feel like cricket, West Indian cricket, already had a certain brand value internationally, right?
Right.
So that would have helped. So the names, Bravo and those guys already known in India pretty well, right? Because my initial thought was, why wouldn't they do this with football as well too, local football or regional, like create the same model for football? But I'm guessing it's because we don't have the same brand recognition internationally in football as we do in cricket. So the cricket was able to maximize on that, right?
Get the product on the field. Once you get that product on the field, right, you could sell outside. Yeah, that's why I was thinking, if it is that you say, okay, well, let's bring Argentina to Trinidad to play. Right. People may not be coming to watch Trinidad play, honestly, you know, but they have Argentinian fans in the US, in Europe, South America, watching the team play. They would now know more about Trinidad and Tobago by watching the game there. Looking at what these other countries are doing, El Salvador and these smaller countries, they're getting games against Brazil, right? But they're organizing that game in Washington, D.C., right? So El Salvador's playing against Brazil in Washington, D.C., right? Why? The U.S. market, looking at the broadcast rights globally, but then also they know that they could fill out 80,000 seats in Washington, D.C. They may not be able to fill half of that in El Salvador because they don't have the infrastructure to fill that out. So you have to really have to look at the markets and see where they can get return on the investment, right? And as you said, the product with cricket is already established. So if it is that we start looking at the major sports, cricket, football, track and field. I think those are the 3 areas. If we start really focusing on developing that space, I think we would do well, because everyone knows Jamaica for track and field. Everyone knows the West Indies for cricket. We have our ups and downs with football, but I think the opposition will be the selling point for us if we get good games. Yeah.
Okay.
As sad as that is, right?
I know, yeah. But being patriotic, I'm sure we'll come out in a sea of red, because I don't want to see a Trinidadian win an Argentinian jersey, and we playing against Argentina and Trinidad. And I know it'll happen, eh? I know.
Make up messages here.
I know, right? But see, that don't bother you all, boy. Like, you need to see them and you watching that man, where you from, boy? Boy, from Shergona, boy.
From Shergona. Full Argentina
kid.
Scarf, all kind of thing.
Heat stroke.
Yeah. So where you going? The man have even seen Argentina in his life.
That's true. Yeah, I agree with you.
And that's one of the challenges that we have to from the sporting side, that we're not patriotic until we start doing well or reach a certain point where people think we're going to qualify for something or we're going to do something great. Then we jump on board. When you watch primary school sports in Jamaica, the stadium full.
True. No, but yeah, sports in Jamaica pushed from early, that's in your curriculum.
Right.
Them fellas doing shot put and thing in secondary school,
Well, as they say, right, sports is what, they use across here to take you out to get to, right?
Yeah.
It's education, On a broad macro level. That's why they support it from so young, and that's why, on this side, we don't think that's what we
if we say catch or shot put tomorrow, say, hey, I just go to the bank in tomorrow. Yeah?
I say, go back to school.
Yeah, that's true. So I was really excited to get those opportunities. Just coming back home, 3-4 years into returning in Trinidad and Tobago. I'm working with the CPL, then working with TTFA, and getting a chance to work on a FIFA project and organizing games and that kind of thing. Because I was getting that experience, I decided to go into consulting, sports consulting, and started looking at ways to create my own brand, but also franchise brands that will give us an outlet to get international exposure, but also bring arrivals into the country. So while wrapping up my stint in TTFA, I told them that I would like to go out on my own. I'd like to consult. And that's when I ended up starting my company, Lequay Edge, which is just my consulting business. And I started looking at licensing,
Right.
And I didn't know where to start,
Almost like a franchise kind of model.
Yeah, looking at a franchise model, but I didn't know where to start. Honestly, I didn't know where to start. I knew what I was good at. I knew all the connections that I had internationally, but everything was just football.
Right. Football and cricket, right? Football because you had a passionate about it.
Yeah, and I was working
cricket
CPL,
because of your family.
Yeah, and family. So I was like, what can I do different? What can I do out of the box? And ended up meeting the president of the Trinidad and Tobago Cheerleading Federation, and heard her being passionate about cheer. So I said, really, cheerleading is something that's taken off in Trinidad. So obviously, being a marketing person, I went and I did my research and realized how big cheerleading was in the US and how much of a commercial business it was and how viable it was. So, being the guy that I am, I jumped on a plane. I went to Disney World for the World Cheerleading Championship. Now, people say cheerleading, boy, but when I saw the physical presence of these teams, like the Germans, the Norwegian team, the British team, these guys were like powerful, strong guys, and they were doing like all this acrobatic gymnastic stuff and building pyramids with girls and they're flipping and stuff. And I saw how meticulous they were with their craft, that it's like any slip or any slight in judgment, somebody could get seriously hurt, so this is like hours of training and fall and people bruising themselves. And these people are passionate about their sport. And I am looking at the landscape in Trinidad and realizing that they have young girls coming up who want to be cheerleaders and they're looking for that outlet. And I recently had my daughter and I was saying, when I saw cheerleaders in Trinidad and they're talking about their experiences, it was helping them build confidence, working with young girls, being a part of a group setting where they could trust people, talk to people and learn from each other. Hey, I would like my daughter to be involved in something like this. So I said to the president of the Federation for Cheerleading, I said, I'm going to develop a brand and I'm going to see how it works. I'm going to do it as a test piece to see what impact it will have. So then I jumped on a plane and I was invited by the International Cheer Union. They're like the FIFA of cheerleading. I went to Prague for the European Cheerleading Championship. So I was able to meet all the European teams there, coaches, understand the whole thing. Because now I'm thinking in my head, beach soccer. So beach soccer was this. It started off as an event. It's a niche product. It is international presence. Blah, blah, blah. Same model. How could we now introduce it to Trinidad and Tobago on that level? After leaving Prague, they were inviting me to the Asian Cheerleading Championship. So I was in Japan, giving out medals and all kind of thing in Japan for cheerleading and stuff, you know, getting that an opportunity because the Caribbean is a place everybody wants to go to. They just don't know what opportunities and infrastructure they have. They just know about the beaches and the sun, sea, and the sand. But when I showed them Trinidad and Tobago, wow, the National Performing Arts Center, you guys have one of those in Trinidad. Like, this is unbelievable. Like, you guys have 5 stadia, you guys have tracks. When they start really seeing the infrastructure that we are up there in terms of having that physical infrastructure. So when they see that now, they start realizing that there may be an opportunity to come into Trinidad. So I said, you know what, let me develop a brand. So now thinking, Caribbean look, feel, how do I get cheerleaders down here? How do I get coaches down here? I was sitting down one day in blazing hot sun and I said, boy, why would I cheer any sun? And I was like, holy, that could actually work. Why we don't develop something called Cheer in the Sun to appeal to the Scandinavian cheerleaders, the North American cheerleaders, that they could actually come to a location where they could cheer in the sun, have a good time, but guess what? They get the same sun, sea, and sand experience along with the sport. So that was one of the first things I developed under the Lequay company, is a event called Cheer in the Sun. Held in Magdalena Grand last year.
In Tobago.
In Tobago, yeah. Got Magdalena as a partner, got them on board. We had coaches from Norway, coaches from Texas, from Tennessee coming to Tobago to work on cheerleading. So this was the first brand that I developed. The event was successful. We had cheerleaders from all over Trinidad coming across to Tobago to compete. It was all over the International Cheer Group, Cheer Union, their website. People were pushing it, and Trinidad and Tobago became a location now for people to say, hey, there's a cheerleading movement taking place in Trinidad. And that was really exciting for me. Now, people would say it's a serious shift from beach soccer, cricket, football,
no, I get it. You were attracted by the passion.
Yeah.
And that could happen in any athletic endeavor, really.
Correct.
You see the passion, you see the discipline, and so that could have been any sport. Like you said, it could be marble pitching.
You know, once there's some kind of affiliation to international group, international body, and you have people doing it at a high level, let's see how we could bring them down, and let's see how we could now learn from them, so that we could actually beat them and compete on that level. And that was the idea behind Cheer in the Sun. So Cheer in the Sun is a brand now that I'm looking to continue developing.
How long it's been out now?
We just started it last year. It was the first year we did it. Right. So I'm thinking about doing it every 2 years. So looking at doing it again next year. I'm preparing for it. So while doing that, you know, in business and entrepreneurship, things just fall in your lap sometimes that you really don't see it coming. I guess that's why it falls in your lap, but it wasn't planned. While preparing for Cheer in the Sun, I ended up meeting a guy who I was trying to help push the dance part of it. So they do cheer and they do dance, right? Now I can't dance to save my life. I mean, I could jump up and whine and that kind of thing, but to dance and that level.
Sing calypso.
Yeah. Andrew Jeffers are coming for you. I'm telling you.
Well, mama got any man, but you can't sing calypso. But
yeah. No, definitely. I said, you know, looking to do this Cheer in the Sun event. Could you support by bringing some of your dance experience, so we could probably do a cheer and a dance product? And the guy started talking to me about dance and the direction dance is going and how passionate. And I guess I feed off of people's passion because I know how passionate I was when I got beach soccer going, and no one was there with me, and we worked it hard and we got it to that level. So he talked to me about his passion for dance and how the dance community was going through the issues in Trinidad. And then he said to me, have you heard about World of Dance? I was like, World of Dance? No. He's like, you know J-Lo? I said, of course. So I just...
yeah, you know that.
Of course. J-Lo. Hey. Now you're piquing my interest. And so I went online and I saw World of Dance. It's a big production by NBC. Jennifer Lopez is the executive producer. Neo is also on the show. Derek Hoff is another judge. And I started watching what they were about to do, and they were launching this big World of Dance event. And he says, hey, you know, I have connections with the international license manager for World of Dance. We're thinking about doing a franchise in Trinidad, but it's very difficult for me because that's not my thing. I'm a dancer, you know, I'm the business side of it. I really don't have that acumen, but it's something I think you should look into because it's a good opportunity. So just like I did with beach soccer, just like I did with cricket, just like I did with football, just like I did with cheerleading, I went and I researched everything inside out, understand the global market.
How long you spent researching it though?
I would say every day for like a couple of weeks. Just going hard. Let's read and doing studies. Like, how feasible is it? Is it something that could make money? Is it something that is sustainable? Is it something that will drive multiple revenue streams? Is it something that could be packaged? Could it be put on television? What can be done? And after doing my research, I said, this is a hit, because World of Dance just started. Jennifer Lopez is a marquee face, right? And she's the one pushing the brand, right?
Okay, we'll leave it at face. Go on.
You want to go personality? Yeah, she's a market personality. All right. I agree with you, and she's a great artist.
And your wife agrees with you.
Yeah. Of course, and and I told them, I think this is something that could work, because World of Dance does not have any, as again I mentioned, World of Dance doesn't have any representation in the Caribbean. So I always look at that first. How can we be the first in the Caribbean? So, bro, I jumped on a plane again, flew to Los Angeles to meet with the president of World of Dance. And when you start meeting with people and you start realizing their stories, you start saying, hey, I'm on a dot in the Caribbean, and my story and your story is similar, and you're in big LA. And the guy was simple. He's like, had a passion for dance, have a passion for pushing it, developed the brand, started building the brand. Eventually,
This is the David Gonzalez.
David Gonzalez, yeah, president of World of Dance. And just a funny story about this. I use this example when I was talking to some kids that I was mentoring. I was flying to Miami when the hurricane was coming. I think it was Irma, right? Is Irma? It's the summertime.
Okay.
I booked my flight, and Dave Gonzalez told me that he only had 20 minutes to meet on the Friday. He said, I only have 20 minutes to meet with you on the Friday. You need to get here. We need to talk. If you're serious about this thing, let's see if the Caribbean is the right fit, because we do World of Dance all over the world and we don't have any representation in the Caribbean, but we're only looking at serious people to do this. You have 20 minutes on Thursday. Come and meet me. Check the flights. Going to Miami. People say, Kyle, the hurricane is about to hit. I call the airline, American Airlines, say, hey, we still flying. Flight going out to Miami. As I landed in Miami, boom. I had to connect the next morning, because I came in the evening. I had to connect the next morning to fly to LA. I got a message on my phone. All flights canceled out of Miami airport to Los Angeles. But I left earlier. This was around the Monday. I left around the Monday because I saw the hurricane coming. So I said, well, let me get into Miami early, right? My overnight in Miami, go to LA, probably spend 3-4 days in LA, just sightseeing or whatever, and then preparing for my meeting. I got to Miami next morning, flights canceled. No way I could leave. They say that the hurricane is hitting the airport, is shutting down for how many days? I say, nah, this can't be happening, but I say, could I fly to Fort Lauderdale? They say nothing. I say, Orlando? They say nothing. I say, well, where's the next airport I could fly out from? They say Atlanta. I say, oh, well, cool. I went to high school in Atlanta. My dad living up there. I said, well, hey, what? I'll rent a car. And I drove from Miami to Atlanta, right, to get to that flight.
How long was that drive?
That drive took about 16 hours because everyone was driving out of Florida because of the hurricane. So it took about 16 hours to drive, right? Got to Atlanta, Georgia. Spend the night in Atlanta, Georgia. Going to the airport the next day. Hurricane turned up north. Atlanta Hartsfield Airport canceled all the flights out of Atlanta to LA.
Oh God, you get sick.
So I said, geez, and I just say, no, boy, like, no, this is a real test, boy. Like, why are you doing this? So everyone in Trinidad is like, hey, just fight it and just come back home. And like, what are you doing all this for? I was like, no, I have to get to LA. So I called the airline. I said, when is the next flight out? They said, well, we can't guarantee you anything. The only thing we can do is get you out of another airport. I say, well, but the airport's closed. I say, well, if you could drive to another airport, you can go. So I said, well, where's the next available airport? They said the next available airport is New Orleans. I said, okay.
Oh, Lord.
I jump in the car. I drove from Atlanta to New Orleans. Right? Took about 6 hours. Right?
Small drive.
Yeah.
I find it shaky again. That's small drive.
Yeah, that's small drive. 6 hours.
Oh, for 16, but it's nothing.
Yeah, like 6 hours, that's nothing. I reached New Orleans. I said, good. Overnighting in New Orleans. So this is now Wednesday night, flying out to LA, right? The meeting is Thursday. So Wednesday night, flying out to LA. Took the rental car, dropped off the rental car in the airport in New Orleans. Got my boarding pass, gone to the gate, waiting the board. Ladies and gentlemen, the plane has a technical difficulty. We will be cancelling this flight. Please go to the counter and we will have to put you up in a hotel for the night. I was like, no, I have a meeting tomorrow morning, Thursday morning in LA. It's nighttime. It's like 9 p.m. Right, but LA is 3 hours behind. So it's 9 p.m. in New Orleans. I need to get to LA. It's like, sir, we're so sorry. Like, we have no flights out tonight. The next available flight is tomorrow. Right? I say, yeah, but if I leave tomorrow, I'll miss the meeting. This man say you have 20 minutes to meet with me. I say, I can't do that. So I jump on the computer. I call my wife as well. It's like, hey, flight cancel. I can't get to LA. So she starts looking for flights and stuff like that. And she says, well, what time is your meeting? I said 10 a.m. Pacific time. She's like, well, I'm finding a flight that will get you into LA at 9 a.m. Right? Tomorrow morning. I said, well, cool. What to do? She's like, but it's out of Houston.
Why you try to LA one time?
I was saying,
You reach LA in a car by the time the story done though.
so
Wow.
I went back downstairs, right? Go into the rental car companies, get a rental car. I got a little minivan because they say they had no cars. All they had left was a minivan, a soccer mom van. I said, I'm taking it. Jump in the soccer mom, and I drove from New Orleans to Houston. That was another about 5 or 6 hours I drove. Got to Houston about 5 o'clock in the morning and flew from Houston to LA. But while all this was going on, I was telling them in LA what was happening. Right? And when I landed in LA, it was just after 9 o'clock in the morning. And I ain't shaving 4 or 5 days, right? I ain't shower because that whole trip was just driving. So I called him. I was like, hey, I'm in LA, right? I just landed. I can't even go to the hotel or anything like that. I'm coming straight to the meeting and stuff. And she said, hey, the president of Roland says, if you went through all that just to be here for this meeting, don't worry. He would cancel his meetings on Friday and he would sit down with you on Friday, go have a shower, shave, get some rest, and come and meet with us the next morning, because he said he can't believe you left Trinidad to come to LA and went through all that to be here to get this opportunity, to get an option for this franchise. So the man said, come back tomorrow. So I said, well, so after all my adrenaline pumping, I was like, all right, cool, I went and rest. Went to the office the next morning, knock on the door. If you see your boy, suit, shield down there, I say, what? I say, yeah, like I just landed, you know what I mean? A fresh now, boy, So random, I hear a dog barking. So I come to the wrong office. I hear a dog barking in this place. So I was like, well, I'm in the wrong place. So he said, no, you're in the right place. So some guy walk out now to use the bathroom. And he says, who you here to see? I said, well, I'm here to see Chelsea. She's the international license officer license director, for Rule of Dance. He's like, okay, well, no problem. But when he closed the door, I couldn't open it. So I'm knocking, but I'm hearing this dog barking. I was like, nah, I'm not going in there with that dog barking. He's like, don't worry. So Chelsea comes, open the door. I go in there, I talk to Chelsea. And this is a lesson that, people listening, that, no matter how much research you do, certain positions or situations that you get into, you really have to think quickly and think on the fly, because you'll understand why I'm saying that. So Chelsea comes, opens the door and walks in. And I was like, yo, some guy just walk out there and tell me this is the right place. I wasn't sure I was seeing a dog barking. She's like, oh, it's a little dog. It's like a small dog. And the dog was just like the Taco Bell dog, and just jumping up on your foot. Right? And she took me into this room, and the guy who went to use the bathroom came back inside, and he sat down in the conference room there, right? So he holding the dog, and I just put the dog on his lap and just petting the dog now. So I was like, cool, no worries. I'm just waiting on Chelsea to come back. She just went to get some information for the meeting. So, and the guy short pants, sneakers, and a t-shirt, and just petting his dog now. So I say, sorry about that, man. I just didn't realize that it was a little dog. The dog was barking. I thought it was some big dog, He's like, yeah, that's the dog that we have around here. I'm very friendly and stuff. So we said, okay, well, how was your trip? I said, cool, just waiting to meet with Chelsea. I came from Trinidad, man. I went through all these different hurdles to get here, but I'm glad that I'm here. So I said, what's your role with the company? So how long have you been working? I'm asking him, how long have you been working here? What's your role? He's like, well, I'm the president. I'm Dave Gonzalez. I say, what? I say, yeah. I say, okay, cool. I say, so you just walk past outside and I just walk. He's like, yeah, well, I'm just, that's how I am. I'm just cool. This man, sit down there, petting his dog, right? Walk past me normal, say hi, good morning, and just, and I, in my suit, GQ dog and thing, and this man sitting down there in a shorts, petting a dog. And then Chelsea came back and Chelsea, you didn't tell me this Dave Gonzalez in the room here. She's like, oh, I thought you knew Dave. And Dave and they start laughing, And what was supposed to be a 20-minute meeting turned into a 2-hour meeting. Just sitting down, sharing ideas and understanding that what I want to do with his brand and help him with his brand is the direction that he wanted to go. I showed him Napa. And when he saw Napa, he's like, Napa, you guys have a better venue than many of the people that we have franchises with around the world. He's like, that must cost you guys like hundreds of thousands of dollars to use that venue. I was like, no, the government just gave you that for a very cheap price. You could get that for about 2,000 US. He's like, that venue? I was like, yeah. I was like, and that's where our event is going to be, and that's where your brand is going to be, and that's where we're going to push the movement, and the young people are going to get involved, and we're going to promote the communities to get involved in the schools to get involved in roller dance. And after that, he said, hey, you know what? The passion, the determination, and what you're showing me here, I want people like you to help build my brand. And any market or any location that you think my brand can work in a global landscape, I will be willing to give you those franchises in those other places. I said, oh, really? What do you think about Nigeria? Right? And he said, well, we're looking at the African market. I said, well, I have a very good contact there in Nigeria. And I think it'll be something that will work well because everyone is following a lot of the dance moves coming out of Nigeria, the music, right? The artists, the entertainment, the culture, they're really strong. What can we do to get into Nigeria? And I said, well, I have really good contacts through football coming back in, right? That got me into Nigeria because I, at that time, was planning to help Nigeria with a carnival that they're launching called the Wazobia Carnival, which I went on to help build with them last February, and I'm going back again next year.
I want to come too.
Yeah, of course.
So say, what you do? What you gonna do?
I mean,
yeah, we know real people from Nigeria too.
But the Caribbean miles do carry you there though, so I have to figure out.
Which we rolling with Kyle Lequay.
Depends on which way the wind blowing. Hurricane just come from that side. Wind just come from that side, you know.
Yeah.
No, but
jumping on the plane with
Actually
Kyle.
sound like a real nice vibe, so
yeah. So they start building this carnival brand in Nigeria, and what I ended up doing was so tied in really well. So the dancers that I was working with for roller dance, I ended up taking 5 soca dancers across to Nigeria, and they were leading the carnival, leading the parade, doing workshops, showcasing the dance from our music and our culture, and they were bridging the Afro music and the Caribbean music and doing things like that. So they want to continue building on the carnival brand. So I told him I have a very good connection with Nigeria, and he said, okay, let's see if you can explore the Nigerian market, and spoke to the partner in Nigeria. And now I'm a co-franchise holder for Roller Dance Nigeria as well. So I have Roller Dance Trinidad and Tobago, and I have Roller Dance Nigeria, 2 franchises coming out of that meeting with Dave Gonzalez.
I thought you had Jamaica as well.
Yeah, we have Jamaica as well. Sorry, yes, we have Jamaica.
Not too much thing, man.
Yeah, we have Jamaica. Yeah. We have Jamaica franchise as well.
I got that too.
Yeah, no. So we have Jamaica, we have Trinidad. So after this year, we did it right. We said we're going to do Jamaica next year. Looking at the population size for the venues and the cities that they do roller dance, they use a 10 million person population, right? So roller dance is usually done by cities. So it's roller dance London, roller dance Paris, roller dance Buenos Aires. And now here we are, roller dance Trinidad and Tobago, right? Because the numbers were not even close to 10 million, right? So when I told him initially I was trying to get roller dance Caribbean, right? To try and put everybody into one pool, because when you add up the numbers in the Caribbean, let's have one location. But Jamaica has their unique style, their unique culture, their unique brand, and we're looking at using Jamaica as well. But what we're seeing now is that from their perspective in roller dance, coming out of it, they're now seeing what I was trying to tell them about roller dance Caribbean, that if we try to do one in Jamaica and we try to do one in Trinidad, because they do it by territories, if someone decides they want to do roller dance Guyana, somebody wants to do roller dance Barbados, what you're going to have is that everyone's just going to have a little piece, where the rest of the globe is a 10 million person market for them to go into a territory. So this year for roller dance event, very successful event, we had dancers that flew in from Florida, from Guyana, from Grenada, from Barbados, from St. Vincent, all coming to Trinidad and Tobago to perform here, to try and get to Los Angeles to the big stage, right? So my vision was, could we still use Trinidad and Tobago as the hub and have all these countries come to Trinidad and Tobago and then shoot off to LA? Seeing that we have infrastructure, we have the logistics, operations, everything, sponsors, the support, it'll make sense. So we are now in discussions with them to lump it together as one, right? Jamaica and Trinidad being one location, as opposed to trying to do one here and then one in Jamaica. Because when you add Jamaica population and our population is still only 3.54 million people, not even close. So what can we do to get everybody to come to one location? Well, Nigeria it's easy. I mean, Nigeria is actually two cities, Abuja and Lagos. So we're doing Willow Dance in Abuja and Willow Dance in Lagos. And Lagos alone is 21 million people, right? So the Willow Dance brand, Lequay Edge franchise holders, successful event this year. We took dancers off to Los Angeles. Thema Williams actually won one of the categories. Thema, in my eyes, now number one gymnast in the country. And we also had a couple named Stefan and Carlene who does Latin dance. All these things I learned along the way, right? In terms of the different styles and stuff, but did really well across there. And they're now waiting on a caller from NBC for the next round of casting to get a chance to go on the show to hopefully make it onto the big stage with Jennifer Lopez. And these things just all happened to tie into place this year. And my company is only 1.5, almost 2 years old. And we've been very fortunate to get these opportunities in the sports consulting and sports marketing realm. So we're now looking at one more franchise in the Asian market because I have good relationships over there. So the idea is to have one in the Caribbean, one in Africa, and one in Asia. And we'll be good, and Dave Gonzalez will be happy, and we'll all be happy. And while preparing for Willow Dance, opportunity came to get the bars on the avenue, and I decided, hey, why not go after it? Because
okay, so we doing
tied to sports, yeah.
So all right, so we doing
when do
soccer,
I sleep? Yeah.
We doing dance, we doing cheerleading.
Cheerleading, we doing
we international.
Yeah, international.
Why we need a bar?
Nigeria Carnival, yeah.
Why do we need a bar on Repeat Avenue?
Always wanted a bar. My idea was to always have a sports bar. Right, I really want.
Try into the sports though.
Really want
sports
get
bar.
It twisted.
Okay. Oh yeah, because there's a TV there.
6 screens across the front of 63 Lounge, right? And that was the idea. Really,
all it's showing is Willow Dance. It's only showing beach football,
for the Lequay Edge ecosystem.
Exactly. I want to see nothing else. No swimming and table tennis and thing.
So exactly. So it all ties in. So for the World Cup, I got a relationship with Red 96 and 95.5, and they broadcasted all the games live from 63 for the World Cup. And in doing that, we had a really nice buzz throughout the whole World Cup season. And then we got big brands to come on board to the point where for the World Cup finals, I was able to get Angostura to block off the road. And we had a 40-foot trailer with a big screen showing the World Cup finals in front of 63 with thousands of people outside. And this was me saying, boy, I really wanted a sports bar. And now I have a location to do events, launch events, invite sports teams to come, invite international people when they come down. They can go to the bar and promote that side of it and tie that all back into what we're doing with Lequay Edge from the sports marketing side of it, what we're doing with the hosting of people and that kind of thing. So it was exciting for us to get into that business. Now that business is really challenging because, it's going till 4 or 5 in the morning. So you really have to have the right management style, the right team around you, understanding stock, understanding purchasing, understanding leveraging brands, which is something that I really know well. And, making sure that we make ourselves a staple location on the avenue. And that was, for me, just getting into business in something different. I'm just trying to see how many different things all tie into each other that dependent on each other to succeed. And having a location like that on the avenue, I think is a benefit for me with what we're trying to do with all our other brands and events and concepts. So the bars now, developing it into sports bar, but also a night lounge. So we just want to give different people opportunity to come and get a different experience on different nights. If it's karaoke, if it's Latin, if it's old school, just want to come on with sports. For example, Manchester United is playing against Chelsea on Saturday at 7 a.m. We have the Manchester club and the Chelsea club coming to watch the games from the bar at 7:30 in the morning. So we're just using that to continue to spread what I'm doing with my companies and just get people going.
How big is your full-time team though?
Small team, about 5 persons, project manager, logistics, sponsorship and marketing, operations, and, HR, and I have a
HR.
Yeah. My wife is into HR, so she basically she does HR consulting and stuff like that. So she gets business from the HR standpoint.
That's good.
But my actual team is about 5 people, and we just go at it. And then if I need to bring people on board on a project by project basis, I will add people to the team, and we just put together the scope, put together the timeline, and just get the job done. So we have a couple of projects in the pipeline for next year in Trinidad, a couple in Brazil, and back in Nigeria. So we'll be working around the clock for the next few months just to make sure that these brands and events come off really, really well next year.
How you juggle all those things without any of the balls falling though? Like I feel like be doing so much things at the same time. You run the risk of
look who talking.
Yeah, no, right?
No, I creeping right now, boy.
I'm taking a page out of say booking up.
Creeping, boy. Creeping.
Actually, that's episode 1.
No, I actually try to streamline
January.
a little bit,
Go back to the archives in January.
But for real, I feel like that's a lot to manage, John. I mean, it's an international scale. You have so many people that kind of depend on you and your brand and your skill set. How you manage that, boy?
So each one has a team. So Lequay has a team of persons. Tobago Sports has a different group of people that I do stuff with. The Beach Soccer Association has a different set of people. So basically finding the right teams, the right persons to make up the teams. And I just go from one to one, making sure that each is in place. Also the team in the bar, we have a bar manager, we have a bar supervisor, we have bar staff. Sit down with them, have meetings with them, set these meetings and set the direction every week. And yes, sometimes the ball may feel like it's dropping, but I guess the motivation level is high, but the people around you have to keep encouraging them and motivating them. They have good people in Trinidad that really want to do well and work, and you really have to figure out how to tap into that and motivate people. And I think I kind of do that pretty well, like encouraging people to buy into what I'm trying to do,
right,
and showing how they can grow within that scope.
That's a good angle. So then for young people trying to start off their little ventures and that kind of thing, right? What advice you would give in terms of, listen, this is how you go about getting the right people around you? Because, the notion in Trinidad is that most people just a little lazy and they don't really...
True.
So what advice you would give somebody trying... So they have a venture, they have something small, they want to grow it, they want to bring on people, but they have no idea how to lead, how to manage, coordinate, and what advice you would give?
You have to remember, say that no one wants it more than you because it's yours, right? And you have to make sure that if it is that someone is falling short, it may be no disrespect to them that they just can't do the job properly, but that doesn't mean that you have to sit back and watch it fall. You have to be that person to go and pick up the slack. So that's why we'll say sometimes I load in beer in the fridge, right? I go into the meeting with Angostura to sign the deal for branding. I'm talking to Carib about loading the truck to get stuff down there. I am up on the roof trying to fix lights, cameras, So I become the janitor, I become the bottle washer, I become everything. And I learn each part of it because you want this. This is your thing. This is your dream. This is your vision, right? At some point in time, you will get the right people to come on board. But in the early stages, it's really kind of, and I tell people that sometimes I feel like I was a man pulling a tugboat upstream by myself sometimes, but then when the tugboat reached to that point now and it started to flow downstream, if you see passengers jump on the stream, right? And you have to realize that is the part where you're really tested and challenged. So if it is that you are now starting up and your hope is that your partners, this partner will come in, this one will help you, this one will help you. You ain't paying them, but you're trying to get them to buy into what you're doing and thing. You would be really disappointed at some point in time because they don't share the same passion and the same grit that you would have for your thing. So if you don't have the money and the capital, you really have to open the bottle, stock the shelf, take notes, do deals and everything. And then when the boat starts to go downstream and people start jumping on, you in a position to choose who you want on the boat and what are they going to be doing. Are you going to be steering? Are they going to be down the engine room? What are they going to be doing? And that's how I really saw it. I had to understand dance and production and marketing and hosting and where this is go, where that is go, because here's why. Somebody may tell me that's $40,000 and I say, all right, cool, put it up. And the next thing it's really $20,000 if they just did this instead of that. So, not just because you want to know everything, but you have to figure out, is this the right decision to make based on my budget? Because I am the one that have to pay out at the end of the day as well. So I need to know these things. Now, I mean, I proclaim to be the best in it, but you have to have some kind of knowledge in it, right? So now I know how many pours in a bottle. If you have spillage in a bottle, I'm supposed to get 17 drinks out of this one bottle. Why when it rings up on the register, I'm only seeing 14 drinks, then I'm 3 drinks short, all those different things. I only got to buy in March, but you have to know this thing inside out because no one else will care about it more than you. That's my advice to someone coming up.
You mentioned your wife and your daughter. I mean, I know them both. Any challenges in terms of managing that full-time responsibility with the myriad of other responsibilities you have? And this is just, you know, I mean, you could be as candid as
you need. In front of every great man is a great woman, right?
In front.
You see why he's win by?
In front. Right? And this is one of the good things about having a partner who is directly involved in the day-to-day business and the operations and what's going on, because now she is sharing in that vision, she is sharing in that passion. So she understands the sacrifices that we both are making, because sometimes she's doing it. Like, to be honest, like sometimes when I knocked out and I'm so tired, it's 2, 3 in the morning. I wake up, I look at her, she's on her phone watching the cameras in the bar, making sure the staff doing what they're supposed to do at 3, 4 in the morning. And I snoring on the place. I roll over like I rail out, you know, and she's checking the point of sale machine on the phone to see if these sales are matching up, you know, checking the stock at 4 in the morning. So when it's time to wake up now, our daughter gets up, we both get up, get our daughter ready, get her out to school. And from that time to in the afternoon time, she's on the laptop doing her part, I'm doing my part. She's arguing with people, I trying to bring in people, you know. So you have to find that complement and that balance. And I think it's unique for us because we both have that bone in us where we share the same values and we have the same drive. And the thing is that, you know, when I'm talking to other people and they ask the same question, sometimes in a relationship you have a wife who is, let's just say, she's working at 8 to 4, she goes and she clocks in, and you're trying to be an entrepreneur, you're trying to be a business person, and you're excited about what you're doing, but she's not seeing and sharing the excitement, and it causes issues because she's like, I'm home at 4 o'clock, why aren't you home as yet? And like, well, you know, I really have to go to this meeting, I have to do this, I have to do that, and not understanding that this needs to be done in order for it to happen. And the sacrifices that the greats would have made in business would have all had a similar story, saying that if they get that support, they can reach really far. For example, Jeff Bezos from Amazon, he was working out of his garage, and his girlfriend, then wife, was there in the garage with him, trying to get Amazon off the ground, selling books online. And the next thing you know, they in battle with Barnes & Noble, because Barnes & Noble want to war with them, and they're selling these books online through Amazon, and Amazon ended up blowing up. But she was there, putting the tape on the box, you know, shipping packages out for him, getting complaints, dealing with all those issues, and she was there in it. So for me, I'm really say I have to be fortunate to do something with passion and shared passion with my wife. So if it is that, you know, I walk into a party and I reach the front and I see my boy working the front with his business, and I look and I see his wife there as well.
Oh, but in events right now?
Yeah, in events, you know, you go to a party and you see your boy with his business there doing really well, and his wife is also there lending that support and being intricately involved, you know. Yeah. Then you can watch and say, you know, hey, he's doing something, his wife is there supporting, they have that shared experience. And those are the kind of things that you pick up on right away when it is you going through similar struggles, you know?
Yeah. So for my other podcast, which is going to launch in November, called Becoming Festival, I interviewed Nigel Romano, the CEO and MD of JMB Bank Trinidad. And he was talking about managing people. And it kind of ties back into what you guys are saying about your wives and your staff and everything, where to get people to share accountability with you, to be responsible with you, or to even share that vision with you, you have to enroll them at first. You have to go through that process where you get them to buy into the vision, buy into the movement, buy into the whole progress of what you're trying to do, before you could actually get them any kind of responsibility or put any onus on them to have your back or to do their job or whatever it is. So it's really interesting how you just kind of bring that full circle.
Yeah, no, it's true, because the thing is, you want them to buy into it, right? But there comes a point in time when they're buying into it and they're not seeing any returns. So they start saying, well, how much buy I have to buy before I actually see something personally, before I get some personal gain out of it. And that's when you start seeing people falling off the maxi. You know, you may go without paying yourself, we'll say, for a year, right? Just to make sure that you reach your goal. But you may not find somebody who willing to not be paid for a year and share the vision with you and be there day in, day out, unless it's that person that you are married to or that partner that you have who understands that part of it as well. All right. Because I've tried that as well, you know, bringing people on board and like, hey, in a year's time, things will be really well. You know, we get these projects off the ground. Let's just see if we could band our belly for now and really try to make it through. It's like everybody starts off, yeah, you know, let's do it, you know.
Let's go all in.
Yeah, you know, 1, 2, 3, go, you know, and then when you run on the field now and you watch back, you see people on the bench like, wait, no. You know, they go ahead of time. Yeah.
Stop.
I sound too hot, boy. I sound too hot right now.
You only half line by yourself.
I will chair in the sun.
Yeah, I chair this. No, it's true, you know. So then, but then when you really do see the persons on the field there with you who take any tackles, who take any punches, you know, you really want to empower those people and give them that opportunity now to spread their wings, like how I was able to spread my wings when I went into the TTFA with the football. They were like, hey, spread your wings, do what you can do. We believe you can do it. I'm not going to micromanage. If there's something that you want to try, let's try it. Right? Let's sit down, look at it, and let's try it. My grandfather told me, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. You listen twice as much as you speak. Right?
Yeah, that sounds like a grandfather talk.
Yeah, you know, listen twice as much as you speak, and you will get a lot of wisdom, you get a lot of knowledge. That was my approach. So I've always been low-key under the radar, but I've been listening, watching, taking advice, and reading. I do a lot of reading. Like every time I'm in the airport, I'm in magazines, looking at building an empire, reading on leadership skills, how to manage groups, conflict resolution, all these different things, and just trying to make myself become better and keep educating myself to be able to face those challenges. Because if somebody come and tell me the freezer freezing the drink at negative 1.6, right? The fridge, right?
Yeah.
I'm saying, well, what time did you put the beers in? I put the beers in at 3 o'clock. No, you did not put the beers in at 3 o'clock. If you put the beers in at 3 o'clock, then it would not be freezing at negative 1.6. It would be freezing at negative 2.4, 2.5 based on the time frame. So these are the things that, if you asked me that question last year, I didn't know, right? But I had to learn, I had to educate myself, and I didn't feel like I knew everything when I went into it. I actually sat down and I learned.
Something. I mean, I'd like to wrap soon.
Yeah, no problem.
Because we're going in an hour and a half thing, but you just brought up a really interesting question in my mind. Let's compare your journey through entrepreneurship, the past decade or so, and change, and compare it to your education at Harvard.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're talking about you learned marketing, you learned sponsorship, you've learned people management, and all of these things. Would you say you've learned more as an entrepreneur than you've learned studying sports management at Howard?
I wouldn't say more. I think Howard provide the foundation and the fundamentals, right? And the theory and the case studies for me to look and analyze certain things. And I guess that would have helped me in this part of the journey, because when we were in Howard, we were on teams. They put us in business school, they put us all on teams, and they gave us projects, and you had to work on these projects. So from day one, you have to learn how to play your role, how to lead on a team, how to concede, when to push, when to hold back, and how to present, how to pitch, how to research, how to argue, how to debate. And then they test you on it, and you go with that group all throughout your journey at Howard. So I'm spending 3-4 years with these people in group environments, learning team building. When things fail, how to put the pieces back together. People in the team must fight. Conflict resolution, bringing them back together. Now taking that now, and 5-6 years down the road now, you're in the environment now, and you're remembering these things like come like riding a bicycle. Like you remember, hey, you know, we had a similar situation. I guess, what did we do? And it ties back into the educational journey that we had in Howard and that experience.
So the education system was able to help you a lot because they use the simulation-based method rather than just a pure classroom, sit down, listen and learn kind of.
Correct, and regurgitate information and do a test and pass out, you know.
I think what happens to people tend to forget where the source of some of the skills that they have now came from, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, I'm a pretty good writer, and I just assume I was always a good writer, and I can real write now, man. Thing. But then when you think back on it, I remember certain classes you have gone through with the teachers, and then were like, every single sentence you had to go through with a fine-tooth comb. And you had no choice in school if you wanted to get an A to actually take it to the next level. And then you have experiences like us with certain managers we may have shared.
Nika Ruiz Montalvo.
Even Tracy.
Yes.
So I mean, like, a lot of people kind of short sell the formal education, thinking that, well, boy, I learned this in apprenticeship, I learned this.
Yeah.
But some of the core skill sets that I think, and that's something that actually just kind of came to mind as you were speaking there, because I personally believe that, you have a lot of disadvantages by spending certain university time, but you can't totally discount the benefits of that experience. So,
I agree with 100%. And if people would say, what did you learn in school? Sometimes I can't even remember some of the theories that I would learn in school, but I can tell you about the experiences that I learned in those same classes, applying the theories. I remember those things, right? And that's what I'm using now to help train my team and also keep myself on top of it. But still, though, I have to keep reading because, as things change, the world is very...
Learning never stops.
The world is very dynamic. You have to keep learning, keep reading. Something that may have been relevant back in Howard may not be applicable now.
Yeah.
And we need to be on top of it, especially if we are entrepreneurs and want to be leaders in the business world.
So I just have one last question for you. I mean, you're a young guy and you've achieved probably more than some tenfold that some people achieve in a lifetime, right? So people listening might be like, wait, boy, this man, he's sounding real, wait, do this, all the right steps, all the right opportunities. What would you say was one of your biggest setbacks or disappointments or even failures, if you want to be as cliche as that? But give us something that says, okay, Kyle Lequay is still human. He's still,
definitely.
He's still
I mean, everything did not happen overnight. It was knocking on doors, getting plenty no's, like that idea didn't go work. Okay, well, it may not work to a C, but you know what? To Bob, it might work, right? To be quite honest, I've gotten more no's than yeses in this whole journey. Way more no's than yeses. But the funny thing is, the no's have now come around to become the yeses, right? But if I had stopped at the no's, then, I would not have been on this journey I'm running right now. So, for example, one of the major disappointments for me is that I've been lobbying to get a beach soccer pitch built in Trinidad and Tobago since 2013, trying to get everything done, reaching 2-3 steps and then halt, not getting anywhere, right? And I think that would be one of my biggest, I say, failures or disappointment, because it's something I promised to the players, something I promised to the international teams, that I'm going to have a beach soccer pitch in Trinidad. But what was a failure is now becoming a success, because the TTFA is building a home of football in Couva. And I was able to convince the president to build a beach soccer pitch as part of the project for the home of football. So within the next month or so, Trinidad and Tobago will have a beach soccer pitch in Couva for players in Trinidad to work and train and develop under lights and stuff like that. So what would have been a challenge or a disappointment for me, I still take that and turn it around and try to see how I can still turn that disappointment or failure into a success. So that would have been one. 2, I would say another failure for me would have been not getting as many sponsors as I wanted for a couple events that I would have done, and having to basically struggle through the project, pulling my own resources together, being creative, trying to see how I can make it work, and then still succeeding at the end of it, but failing because I was not able to get or convince people who I thought would have been on board with my project. So I've had, as I said, plenty failures in terms of no's, but the few yeses has catapulted me to the position I'm in right now. So I guess you could get 100 no's, 20 yeses, and those 20 yeses took me on this journey.
Nice. Well, I would say that sounds like investing. You invest in a bunch of stocks. Could be 20 losses, but the one win can make up for all those losses.
All the losses, correct. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
All right, man. Positive.
So, Kyle, where can we find you?
You can find me in the club. And you can find me by 63. You can find me at my office in Woodbrook. But definitely, if anyone needs, for me, any advice, I'm looking to also start lecturing and these kind of things. My number is 772-0248. Put it out there because I'm willing to talk to everyone. And you can reach me at kalequay@gmail.com. All right? kalequay@gmail.com. Right? Okay. I'm always available. Always. I don't sleep much, so I'm always available.
All right. Thanks a lot, brother. So there you have it, folks. Sports management done right. This was Caribbean Power Lunch. We want you to subscribe at caribbeanpowerlunch.com/subscribe. Listen to us on Castbox, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts. And with that, Podcast World, Cabin Studios, we are out.